I am Coach Sess, motivated and determined, and you are listening to Words with a Mad Coach.
What's going on, Mad World? It's me, Coach Sess. I want to get down real quick and talk about Fight Lab 58 coming up March 17th. I'll be commentating that show, and that show will be headlined by Dewan Owens taking on Mike Stevenson. So I want to first of all thank you for taking the time to listen. Give me your feedback in terms of the events. Let me know what you got going on. If you're going out to a tournament this weekend, if you're training for a fight, you got something coming up, hit me up. Let me know about it so I can shout you out, get the people involved, get your name on the radar. I want to give some belated birthday wishes to Anthony Wright from Team Rock Fayetteville. Also our man Marcus, also a slash Fayetteville guy, but now over in Wilmington, probably training with Brunson's MMA. And my cousin Beverly. Happy birthday to you all. And before we get into Fight Lab 58, I want to give to you my reason why I'm so big on local MMA. I tend to know a little bit more about it than I know about the main scene MMA. All right, I do follow mainstream MMA, but I like local MMA a little bit better. The reason being is because I go through the headlines, and what do you see? You see stuff about weight loss. We've had this weight loss, this weight issue going on now for roughly, well, basically we've had it since MMA began, or sanctioned MMAs began. But in the last year and a half to 2 years, we've talked about some kind of revision, some type of plan to fix the problems, and we haven't acted on it. Nothing's happened. Okay, so we still see fighters are not making weight at fights, mainstream events where they're getting paid to be a professional. It's still not happening. So why should it make headlines? We're just going to keep talking about it and nothing happens. There's no punishment. There's nothing for these fighters. A study shows that Conor McGregor is the most searched athlete on Google. Who cares if he doesn't fight? What he made his name in was not boxing. He made his name in MMA. I know he's a polarizing figure and all that, but after a while, who cares if he doesn't fight? And I don't want to see McGregor and Mayweather in the octagon. I don't want to see it. Derek Lewis has made comments about Francis Ngannou, talking about he'll fight him, blah, 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 blah. He's juiced up, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? When Mike Tyson fought Razor Ruddock, it was about two devastating punchers coming together. You didn't have to sell that fight. You sold it on their results in the fight, leading up to the fight. Tyson knocked out people. Razor Ruddock hurt people. That's all the sell you need. You don't have to convince me on anything. There are no words that are needed for that type of fight. All right, there's certain fights that are just combustible, and you put them together, and you've got interest generated. Okay, and then other fights you're gonna have to push and sell. And that fight, even though in the first fight Tyson defeated Ruddock, it was just the way it ended. People still had their reasonable doubt that Ruddock could knock out Tyson, to the point where they ended up having a second fight. So the first fight between two power punchers generated a second fight between two power punchers, which generates interest, and interest equates to dollars, guys. All right, if you can get that promoter to put you on the marquee as the main event, it turns into dollars, but you got to be more interesting at what you do, not just what you type on social media. I equate that type of mentality to the same thing I saw recently with women in the WWE complaining about Ronda Rousey. And some insider from pro wrestling said, hey, that's a work. he's saying that this is scripted, that these women are being instructed to do this, or they understand the wrestling business so well, they went into business for themselves, and they started just putting stuff out on social media saying that Ronda Rousey's hurting the game as far as pro wrestling goes. Well, I don't want to have a WWE promo, a script move over into MMA. It confuses, the general audience in terms of what the product is. And that is the main reason why I like local MMA, for that exact reason. I know what I'm getting. I'm familiar with the fighters. I know their backgrounds. I know their history. I know their heart. I get to talk to them. I get to interact with them. That's why I like local MMA. I don't have to worry about being deceived. And that's what brings me to Fight Lab 58. Fight Lab 58 is going to be an outstanding card, headlined by Dewan Owens and Mike Stevens, March 17th at the Grady Cole Center in Charlotte. Some other names on that card that make it good: Curtis Cloward taking on Derek Hyatt, John Henning against Brian Karmalinsky, Anthony Wright against Shelton Sales, and a couple amateur fights that stand out: Dylan Mason against Jaywin Wilson for the 145 amateur title, Bryant Bullock against Timothy Below for the amateur 135 title. So two good amateur title fights right there happening on that card. Some very good pro fights happening right there on that card. No reason for you not to be there. And the main event on the commentary is you're going to have Coach Sess out there streaming live, giving his thoughts about the action that night and the general feel from the crowd. So Fight Lab 57, I got to tell you, the crowd was ridiculous. The crowd was crazy. The crowd was amazing. There were people out there. I don't want to say they hijacked the show, but they definitely went into business for themselves, cheering on their local guy, Ryan Jett, making Dewan Owens look like the bad guy. But I think it was all in fun. Nothing serious happened afterwards. And it was amazing. I had a lot of fun. I loved the reaction of the people who would turn around and watch these guys. They were calling Dewan Owens whenever he thought he was fouled or whatever. They kept calling him LeBron. They were chanting. It was amazing. They had an awesome crowd. I've not seen that many type of crowd interactions at a lot of the MMA shows I go to, but Charlotte usually does have a lot of interaction. So that's one of the things I kind of look forward to. It's like the main event, the titles, the spectacle itself, and the crowd. That's like that other entity that I look for. Of course, DJ A-Rod's going to be there. He's always blasting the sounds. Fight Lab is always a party. It's always a party where fights happen. Get there, March 17th, Charlotte, Grady Cole Center. Coach Sess is going to be hollering out the comments and the details. Look for me online. Follow Seth Stevenson, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Fight Lab in Charlotte, it's one of my favorite things to do at least once, twice a year, just for that emotion, that drama, that intense, combustible atmosphere that they bring, and it's a lot of fun. I'm Coach Sess, and you've had words with the Mad Coach.